Okay, so today we're doing lesson 1.2. As you know, the 1 means module 1, and the point 2 means we're on lesson 2 of module 1. So if tonight you're looking for the homework under module 1, you'll look for the lesson 2 homework. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Give me a thumbs up if you were successfully able to complete lesson 1 homework yesterday for extra practice. Very good. Okay. Your learning goal today is to be able to use what you know about place value. Yesterday, did we learn about place value and how adjacent place values are related to each other?
Yes.
Yeah. We're going to use what we know about that to multiply and divide numbers by powers of 10. Okay. What do I mean by powers of 10? What's a power of 10? Nithya? Groups of 10. So 10, and then 100, and then 1,000. What would be the next group of 10?
10,000.
10,000, and then 100,000, and then 1 million. Okay, good. Let's first talk about the problem of the day. Just like we learned yesterday, if I move my discs one space to the left, it makes the units bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
Bigger. Moving it to the left makes it bigger. Now, how much bigger? 10 times bigger. Okay, so when I move these discs one space to the left, it makes them 10 times bigger. Right? Another way to write that is multiplying it by 10. That's because I moved it one space to the left. Go ahead and write that into your notebook. Now, on the other hand, if I move one space to the right, if I were to move these 3 dots one space to the right, how does that affect their value? It makes it smaller, but how much smaller?
10 times.
Okay, 10 times smaller. Another way to write that is divided by 10. So in order to do our first problem, 367 times 10, we first write 367 into our place value chart. Now, if we're going to shift the digits to multiply them by 10, are we going to shift them to the left or are we going to shift them to the right?
Left.
How many spaces to the left?
1.
Okay, so we're going to move the 3 one space to the left. We're going to move the 6 one space to the left. We're going to move the 7 one space to the left. We're going to write that we did that because we multiplied by 10. If you're like me and you ran out of space, you can draw more space on your place value chart. Now what do we have in the ones? 0. So I can add a 0 there. So what's the answer? 367 times 10 is 3,670. Okay. Let's try the next one. Same thing. We have 367, but this time we want to divide it by 10. So go ahead and write your original number again, 367. And this time if we're going to divide by 10, we have to shift it one space to the right. Okay, so go ahead and move all of your digits one space to the right. And the final answer is what? 36 and 7/10. Good. Don't forget that your bossy decimal point is still here. Okay? Now, taking a look at the problems here, in my original number, 367, is there a decimal point? No. So where is the decimal point? It's invisible, but it's there. So Natan, where is it?
It's after the 7.
It's after the 7, okay? And in our answer, is there a decimal point?
No.
It's there. You just can't see it. Where should it be?
After the 0.
After the 0. So if it went from 367, and the decimal point used to be here, but then now it's here, it moved one space over to the right, what happened to the decimal point? Did it shift?
Yeah.
It shifted where? One space to the right, huh? We're not going to say back or front, we're going to say to the right. Okay? Let's take a look at when we did the division. We originally had 367, and where was the decimal point originally? After the 7. And in our answer, where was the decimal point?
After the 6.
Huh. Did the decimal point move?
Yes.
It moved one space to the
Left.
So when I multiplied by 10, I noticed my decimal point moved one space to the right, And when I divided by 10, I noticed my decimal point moved one space to the left. Interesting. Okay, this time if we have 4,367 and I want to multiply it by 10, make sure you copy that problem into your notebook. How are the digits going to shift? Are they going to shift to the left or to the right? To the left. How many spaces? Okay, so if I shift all of these digits over to the left in order to multiply by 10, I'm left with 4, 3, 6, 7, and a 0 in the ones place. Right? Okay, so let's take a look at how that shifted the decimal point. Originally, in 4,367, where was the decimal point? After the 7. And our answer became 43,670. Where's the decimal point now?
After the 0.
Did the decimal point move?
Yes.
How many spaces did it move?
One space
To the?
right.
One space to the?
Right.
Oh, one space to the right. Okay. Let's do the division problem. Make sure you copy this division problem into your notebook. And again, we're going to start with our original 4,367 in the right place values. If I'm dividing by 10, how are those digits shifting? One space to the?
Right.
Okay. So now I have 436 and 7/10. Let's take a look. My original number, 4,367, where was the decimal point?
After the 7.
After the 7, okay. And in my new answer, I have 436.7. So now it's after the 6, isn't it?
Yes.
So how did the decimal point move?
One space to the left.
It moved one space to the left. Okay, if I have 3, where does my 3 go? What place value? My original 3, right here. What place value is the 3 in? In the ones, okay. And my 7 is in the tenths, right?
Yep.
If I'm going to multiply that by 100, how do I have to shift the digits? 2 places to the left. So now I have 370. That's the same if I originally have 3.7. Moving the digits 2 spaces to the left is the same as moving the decimal point, what? 2 spaces to the right. Okay. So when I multiply, I'm moving the decimal point to the
Left.
I'm moving the decimal point
To the right.
to the right. Yeah. And moving the digits to the left, right? Now if I have 3 and 7/10 and I want to divide it by 100 this time, I could move the digits to the what? Left. How many spaces? 2, right? So that I'm left with 37 hundredths. That's the same as moving, if I'm moving the digits to the right, that's the same as moving the decimal point. How many spaces to the left?
2.
Okay, so do you see how that's the same thing? So when I multiply, I need to move the decimal point to the right, and when I divide, I move the decimal point to the left. So if you've written this down in your notebook, you'll remember how to move the decimal point when you're multiplying or dividing by powers of 10. We know that when we're multiplying, we need to move the decimal point in which direction?
Right.
And when we're dividing, we need to move the decimal point in what direction? Left. So let's take a look at this problem up here. I have 482 thousandths. Here's my decimal point, and I'm multiplying it by 1,000. So do I need to move this decimal point to the right or to the left? I still hear we're a little bit confused. Let's think to ourselves. If I'm multiplying a number by 1,000, is it going to get bigger or smaller? Bigger. If I move the decimal point to the right, will the number get bigger or smaller? Bigger. If I move the decimal point to the left, will the number get bigger or smaller?
Smaller.
So am I trying to make it bigger or smaller?
Bigger.
So should I move it to the left or to the right?
Right.
And that's what we wrote down here too. How do I know how many spaces to move to the right? Jonathan? Instead of saying depending on how many zeros, let's think about how many factors of 10 there are. When I make 1,000, it's 10 times 10 times 10. Do you agree?
Yes.
So how many factors of 10 are there?
3.
How many times did I write 10?
3 times.
3 times. So how many times do I have to move this decimal point?
3 times.
I'm moving it 3 times to the...
Right.
Okay, so here moves that's 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. So if the decimal point is here now, what's my final answer? 482. Very good. Let's take a look down here. I have 482. I want to divide it by 1,000. If I'm going to share something among 1,000 people, is the number going to get bigger or smaller? Smaller. If I move the decimal point to the right, is it going to get bigger or smaller? Bigger. If I move my decimal point to the left, will it get bigger or smaller? So if I'm dividing by 1,000, do I want to move it to the right or to the left? And that's what we wrote down here. Wait a second, there's no decimal point here.
You make one.
Where? Oh, I just put it anywhere?
No.
Where is the decimal point? Is there actually a decimal point here, but it's invisible?
Yes.
Where is it actually? Ananya? Where's the decimal point in this number? After the 2. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to move it. Now, how do I know how many times to move it to the left? I have to think about how many factors of 10 there are in this number. How many factors of 10 are there in 1,000? Ritvik?
There are three factors of 10.
There.
And I know that because there are 3 zeros.
Very good. So I can go 1, 2, 3. And so my new number, my new answer is 0.482. Do you see how the decimal point moved there?
Yeah.
Okay, very good.